The views expressed on Talk Real Solutions, hosted by Tyrone Thompson at talkrealsolutions.com, are the views of Tyrone Thompson and do not reflect the views of talkrealsolutions.com, YouTube, or etc. The content here belongs to Talk Real Solutions and its many contributors. Views and opinions expressed by all contributors belong to them and not talkrealsolutions.com or Tyrone Thompson, the host, or etc. All data and information provided on the site is for informational purposes only. Talk Real Solutions makes no representations as to accuracy, completeness, correctness, suitability, or validity of any information on this site and will not be liable for any errors, omissions, or delays in this information or any losses, injuries, or damages arising from its display or use. All information is provided on an as-is basis.
Host tonight, Tyrone Thompson. Today is March the 27th, 2025. And if you want to listen to the show live, why am I sounding low? I always sound low. Hold on. Let me turn this up. Test, 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 test. Test, 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 test. Okay, well, I think it's gonna be loud. I don't know. I try to keep it to where my voice ain't loud like Sarge's. Okay, so well, anyway, if you what the hell was I saying? Oh, if you want to listen to the show, you can listen to it on YouTube, or you can call into the number at 717-908-1834, and open your mic after you punch in the code, which is 917324. I think it's star pound *6. I don't call in, so the menu on the phone will tell you how to access the queue, so you can raise your hand and I'll open your line. But that's how you can participate. That's how you can listen. That's how if you want to add to the conversation or talk about something, just give it a call and I'll open your mic. Anyway, welcome to the show. You know, it's interesting to what's up, MJ and Frodo. It's interesting to live in these times right now because we are going through something, and I don't think people understand how big it is. But you know, every time I put this dire warning out here, you know, I don't think people I don't think people realize it's going to hit us all one day, but I don't think people realize how much danger we are all in. You know, black people in particular, because we always, it doesn't matter what the situation is, we always get the worst end of it. We always get the blunt of the stick. We're the always one catching the worst case. We're always the one getting the sickest. We're always the one dying the most. We're always the one that gets the help last. We're always the one that catches it. And that's African Americans. And that, you know, this ain't me making this up. This is something factual, and it's because society overall don't give a shit about my people. And, you know, that's kind of been what I've been trying to say over the years, and waking people up or trying to make people aware of these racist ass white people, this white supremacy, the unfairness towards our country, towards our community. You know, that's kind of what I've been speaking towards. And you know, I really think that, like I've said, is that the mentality of an individual is important when it comes to defending yourself, when it comes to building, when it comes to, being aware of what's going on so you won't be blindsided by a bunch of bullshit. So years ago, I was speaking to the mentality of our people when it came to us being indoctrinated into a religion, right? And because we are so religious, that wasn't taken well. So I kind of backed off of that, but that's still my core belief, is that because we have been programmed to believe all of these fairy tales, that we kind of go along with anything, you know and I'm guilty of it too. I'm not saying that I am there. I don't think that there's anybody that don't display a little bit of that indoctrination from our ancestors. That those were our people, and that's the way we were taught to believe in all that kind of stuff. So when it came to the church, I can see that that's the biggest place where everybody just gives up. And when I say give up, they give up. It's it's almost scary to watch, that you put everything in the hands of Jesus, and you put everything in the church, and you just pray for it, and you don't fight. We just give up. We just look weak when it comes to the church. So that's what I thought was important, and I still think it's important, but I'm not going to dwell on that, because there's a whole lot of other things that can point in that direction to get my point across. Because people are, they Jeebus lovers. They love their damn Jesus, and as soon as you say something about their damn Jesus, they'll pick up that phone. Oh, what you mean? And now I got to go down that whole fucking thing of disproving and proving and debating and all this kind of dumb shit that don't need to be. There's too many other issues to be debated to try to convince somebody who's not going to be convinced that they are programmed or indoctrinated. It's a waste of time. Now it's entertaining. It is entertaining, and I didn't mind handing people a couple of their asses over the years, but that's what's got us, that mindset. What I'm trying to say is that mindset has got us in a position to where we accept anything. And now that we have this current administration, now that we see white supremacy at work, I don't see a whole lot of pushback. I don't see a lot of people fighting against the overtake of this country. And that's significant because we live here. We are citizens here. Um, of course, you got your Jasmine Crockett's and those people out there, AOC and others that are out there just out front. Bernie Sanders, I believe, that is speaking against this stuff, but that's not enough. It needs to be a national movement, led by black people, um, speaking in such a way against what we are witnessing here, because the rights that our ancestors fought for is being taken away systematically. Your children is going to have less freedom and access to resources than you have. Our access is already restricted. We don't have access like uh, the white people. We just don't. I started driving Lyft again, and as I ride around Myrtle Beach, I look at the mansions, the $1 million houses, the gated communities, just all over down here, and it's a sight to see that all of this wealth, all of this money has gone to one demographic. You know, houses on the water and boats sitting in the backyard and manicured subdivisions and just houses on the beach that are enormous. It's just all of this wealth. And then they building up these little, I don't know what you call them, metropolises or whatever they call them, where they got all the shops, it's just crazy to watch all of this money in the hands of one demographic. Now, I'm not saying, and people will call in here and they will argue with me and say, there's some black successful people, there's some black people with money. Yes, there is. But you don't show up to the table in the numbers that they do. And I'm not taking away from black success. I mean, I wish everybody success, and I'm glad the ones that made it made it. But the fact is, because America didn't do the right thing when it came to emancipation and equality and justice in this country, and has ignored the fact that they treat us as subhuman, don't allow us to access to, the same thing that we just don't have the resources that they do. That's just a fact. You can look around your own neighborhood or your own county or your own, wherever the fuck you live at, probably except for Maryland or somewhere like that. And that and that is a one-off. They're rich, or well off. I ain't gonna say rich, but well off black people in that part of the country, in Maryland, and they're doing good. But that's not the majority. And this Trump administration wants to ensure that those people vote for Republican. Now, those people may not have a racist bone in their body, but because they want to maintain their white superiority, because they want to not allow black people to be as successful and have as much as them, they become racist by voting for a racist. So now that you voted for a racist, to me, you are just as racist as the damn racist. You can say that I voted for economics or I voted for whatever the fuck, but you voted for a racist. Politics at one point in time, if you were involved with racists, if you even showed that you were affiliated with racists, they would kind of not include you in politics, right? They would excommunicate the racists. But Trump changed all of that. In that first interview, when Wolf Blitzer asked him, would he disavow David Duke? And Donald Trump played dumb and said, I don't even know who David Duke is, which was a lie because there's multiple pictures predating that interview with him and Donald Trump. So what that did was that told racist white America that we potentially have somebody on our side. So that motivated a whole bunch of them racist ass motherfuckers to get their buck teeth, yellow teeth ass up, wake their cousins up, stop screwing their sisters, and focus on politics. And they came out in droves. Those ignorant people who probably didn't even go to the polls before Donald Trump showed some type of sympathy for white supremacy, that woke those people up. And I've always said if the 76, the demographic of white Americans, 76% of this population compared to 13% of African Americans, and the rest of it is the other races. If that 76% ever showed interest in voting, it don't have to be the entire 76% because 100% of Americans don't vote. But if he woke up those racist ass white people that didn't go to the poll, black people would never win another election. Now he, like I said, he don't have 100%, but he got enough of them woke up to upset the way things used to be done. Because when Donald Trump came into office, there was the excess Hollywood tape where he was talking about grabbing women by the vagina. There was the Stormy Daniels scandal where he paid that woman to shut up so he could win the election. There was the connection with Russia where he had the meetings in the Trump Tower with the Russians. There was him feeding information to Russia and asking Russia to release Hillary Clinton's emails, which invited Russia to interfere in the American elections. I mean, we watched all of this shit, but it didn't matter no more because the ethics and morals have been torn down by Donald Trump's outreach towards racist white America. They didn't care. Just like Sarge, if we're gonna say Sarge is a white man because he is, and I'm just using Sarge instead of a actual white man so we can relate to what the hell I'm saying, right? And I'm going to use you, Sarge, as a white American for what I'm saying right now. I know you're not white. I know you want to be white, but you're not. But I'm going to use you because I need to share an example of what I'm talking about when the mentality has changed over time, right? If you think about Sarge back in the day, he was all about the Constitution. He was all about the laws. He was all about, interpreting Supreme Court decisions that has precedence. He was all about telling black people to just obey. If you listen and follow the laws, then white America won't fuck with you. That's Sarge's mentality back in the day, right? Because to him, the only reason that black people were getting murdered by the police officers, the only reason that black people overpopulated by ratio the prisons in this country, the only reason that black people were dying at the hands of police officers was because we didn't follow the law. And that was a simple answer. I can give you the example of how he interpreted the Ahmaud Arbery situation where he was wrong as fuck. How he interpreted Trayvon Martin's situation where he was wrong again. Tamir Rice, he was wrong on all of those cases, but his core argument was those black people didn't follow the law. All they had to do was listen and obey, right? So we established that Sarge is a rule follower. Sarge was against tyranny. Sarge was against any type of restriction to free speech, right? He was one of those patriots that lived by the rule and would follow the fucking law because it was the white man's constitution, it was the white man's law, it was the white man's justice system, and he was going to follow it to the T. Now that was the old Sarge. And this is what I'm saying about the white man and them wanting to obtain and maintain power from here on out. the mentality of Sarge has turned him to a person just like every other white man that don't give a fuck about the law, right? They don't give a shit about the Constitution. That don't care about the justice system, don't care about judges, don't care about court decisions, don't care about criminal behavior. All of white America has changed to where they don't give a shit about none of the things that they said black people need to do in order to not get treated a certain way in this country. They've just given the fuck up, right? When you look at what is going on now and all of that arguing against tyranny, right? We are under a tyrannical government right the fuck now. People are getting sent, legal citizens are getting sent to these deportation camps, and we've had reports of some dying in this deportation facility in Florida. American citizens. They are rounding up people, putting their asses on buses and planes, committing all type of offenses against humanity, and it's all illegal. And Sarge don't give a fuck, just like the rest of the white men. They don't give a shit about tyranny anymore. At one point in time, they were screaming that Barack Obama is going to round us all up and put us into FEMA camps. You remember that shit? I couldn't call into this show without hearing about fucking FEMA camps that the Democrats was going to set up and lock all the damn right-wing people up. I couldn't, but who the fuck created camps for people to get locked up in? And we don't hear one word from the white people or Sarge's white ass, right? Free speech was another issue that the other white man in our little circle here, ABC white ass was screaming that the Democrats were trying to stifle his free speech, trying to shut people up, trying to cancel people. But when you turn around and the Trump administration are literally going onto college campuses, and because legal citizens are protesting, they are locking them the fuck up and kicking them out of the country because of free speech. See, what is going on psychologically with this administration, and what Sarge has, as a white man, has accepted is what I call, let me see if I can Google this. Okay, here we go. It's right on the internet. I see, listen, y'all need to listen to me. All right, so what I call is projection, right? But it's a psychological projection. And look at this definition, and it describes what I'm saying to a T. Psychological projection is a defense mechanism in which an individual attributes their own unacceptable thoughts, feelings, or behaviors to others. So whenever they were saying the Democrats is going to enact tyranny, they were willing to accept tyranny. Whenever they were saying the Democrats is going to open FEMA camps, they are willing to accept FEMA camps because it's projection. Whenever they were saying the Democrats or that they were going to stifle free speech, they don't give a fuck about stifling free speech because it's projection. Just like Donald Trump. is an example of somebody who is in cognitive decline. There is something mentally wrong with that motherfucker, and there's somebody controlling his every fucking move because he's not aware of what the fuck he's signing. He's not aware when he do interviews not to talk about fucking sharks and windmills, and he's not aware that that as a president of the United States, he's not aware as a president of the United States, you can't say shit like this.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame. The people on television say my dog was taken and used for food. So
taking this from
but
television.
The people on television saying their
manager.
dog was eaten by the people that went there.
See, somebody that says something like that, they are in mental fucking cognitive decline. And we all watched it. Hell, I just played an audio of it. We all heard what the fucking president of the United States said about Haitian Americans. He's not all there. But what did they do when it comes to my topic of psychological projection? They told us that Joe Biden was in psychological decline. Projection. They told us that Joe Biden didn't have the mental cognitive abilities to be in the White House. Projection. Because this motherfucker is crazy, batshit crazy. He's been expressing himself using the same 5 or 10 words for the last 10 fucking years. Everything is make America great again. Everything is going to be great. Everything is the greatest that it's ever been. He can only fix it. His vocabulary don't expand beyond those little simple phrases. But the white men and Sarge white ass and ABC white ass would rather listen to this bumbling idiot than have a functioning democracy. When Donald Trump said that Haitians were eating the dogs, Sarge dumbass called in here and said, it's true. This is how fucked up these people are. So if I'm talking about psychological projection, and it hasn't been proven yet, I don't know, but who the fuck is eating dogs over there? I know ABC is taking horse pills. That's the truth. He came on here and said that he has taken ivermectin, which is known to treat what the fuck is ivermectin? It's known to treat parasites in horses. That's what it's for. So I don't know who the fuck is eating dogs and cats when it comes to Sarge and them. I don't know. They may be eating dogs and cats. I don't know. I really don't. But everything that they say is projection. Now we got this thing going on to where the Trump administration, I think they bombed Yemen. And it was a military operation. And let me just say this right here before I go into this, because I didn't sit down and I did not watch this story. I did not analyze it. I did not get into the details of the nitty gritty of what happened here, okay? Because I am just, like I said, I can't do politics no more, so I got back out and started driving again. So I just barely hear what the fuck is going on when it comes to this administration. But they do so much shit that everybody talks about it all the goddamn time. So the Trump administration had a military mission that wasn't sanctioned by Congress, which was illegal because whenever you spend money, it's supposed to go through Congress, right? And everybody's supposed to chip in and say, yeah, 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 send the fucking planes, send the missiles, send the troops. That's the way it's supposed to happen. But let's move beyond that. They bombed Yemen. They was bombing the Houthis or whoever the fuck that is, and that happened. But prior to that military mission, the Secretary of Defense, that racist white supremacist with the racist fucking tattoos on his chest, Pete Hegseth, and his buddies, I guess, they use this app called Signal, which is supposed to be a secure app that you can send secure messages through. They use that app called Signal to talk about military plans. And Signal, being that it's a secure app, after a certain amount of time, when you use that app, the messages get deleted. So you know that whatever you sent, there is not going to be a trace of what you were saying. That's what's supposed to happen with Signal. And that's why the app is so popular. Because you can send stuff and it, like if you send stuff through Instagram or Facebook or one of the social, you can always go back and retrieve that stuff. That's how motherfuckers get in trouble. Let me just side note here. Have y'all noticed that over the time that we have accepted the fact that our devices can be used in the court of law, and our devices, they can go back through our history, our personal history, to find us guilty of some bullshit? To me, whenever they started doing that shit, whenever they started bringing phones into courtrooms and bringing up history, that's what they did to Fannie Willis and other cases, but I remember hers. But they'll go back and look and see what cell phone tower you was around on what day and all this kind of bullshit. That's kind of like an invasion of privacy. To me, it is. And these cell phone companies should not allow people to have access to your information like that. But they use the case, they use the argument that because a crime was committed or blah, 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 the cell phone companies can authorize access. That's bullshit. We don't live in a fucking free country no more, because at any point in time, they can download my data and see how many porn sites I done went to. they can see who I done cussed out, they can see when Howard is texting me that he hate ABC or whatever the fuck. Now, let me stop. Let me leave Howard alone. Howard didn't say nothing about ABC through text, so I'm just using it as a joke. That was a joke. But anyway, that is kind of scary. But back on Signal. Signal is supposed to be an app that whenever you use it, it's supposed to be secure, and the message is supposed to get deleted as soon as you use it, right? First of all, the government already has procedures to talk to one another. I was in Signal communications. I know that there's methods out there to privately encrypt your messages and get them to whoever the fuck you want to get them to. That's just a thing that exists in the military and has existed in the Signal Corps for fucking ever. When it comes to encrypting messages and sending secret shit, top secret shit, that's what the hell the Signal Corps does, right? So there was methods out there to do that already. So why they're using an app is beyond me. I don't know, but they did. And when they sent these messages before the bombing, they added this reporter to the group chat. Right there is that they're being careless, and Pete Hegseth and his team don't know what the fuck they're doing, because there is no. First of all, they shouldn't have used the app, and then they don't know who they sent it to, and then come to find out that they had a person that was in Russia at the time on the group chat. So whenever you go to Russia, Russia monitors everything that you do as an American person in Russia. They monitor your cell phone communication. They monitor your chats. They monitor your computer if you're on it. Russia is one of them damn countries that you ain't finna do shit unless they know about it. So there was a person in Russia on the chat with Pete's head chef, and they were sending fucking military plans and shit, right? So people discovered that the Secretary of Defense is a fucking moron. They discovered that this man is sending out military missions, what time the planes are leaving, what type of bombs, when they're going to bomb, who they're going to bomb, identify. He was sending out secret classified information through this group chat. And on top of that, because we have we supposed to maintain government records, the Signal app was deleting the messages, which is illegal. So I'm not going to go into everything that happened, but my point being is that because Sarge is a white man and he's also heard this news, if I've confronted him with this information on the phone tonight, he will tell me one or two things. The first thing is that I didn't hear of it and I need to do more research to find out what you're talking about, because you're probably lying to me. That's one of his first reactions. The next thing that he might possibly say is that he don't see anything wrong with it, when he know good and goddamn well that Pete Hegseth, as the Secretary of Defense, should be locked the fuck up for exposing a military mission like that. He should be fired at least. He should be replaced immediately. But what do white people tell you? They tell you we want all the best. We want only the best. We want the top of the job. We only hire people because of merit. We only oh shit, I forgot to tell y'all. Let me cut my little rant short, because I just seen her on the line here. Listen, tomorrow night, Friday night, Sister Nobody said that she wants to open the show and do a show, and so y'all can call in and talk to Sister Nobody. She said that she want to do a show tomorrow night at 9 p.m. so y'all can listen on the YouTube. Y'all can tune back in on YouTube and listen to what's going on with Sister Nobody's show. Now, I'm pretty sure she sent me the name of it, so let me check my phone. But now, hold on. I know she sent me some pictures this morning. Hold on. I'm sorry, y'all. Oh, the title is the black man's role in the community, and she's gonna have a guest speaker. The Kuman from the 5% Nation of Islam. So that should be interesting. So y'all tune in tomorrow night, and then y'all got another day for this lovely entertainment that Talk Real Solution provides. All right. So back to what I was saying is that white men like Sarge and ABC don't see a damn thing with how this Trump administration is dismantling this democracy and just taking away people's freedom, taking away people's free speech, kicking people out of the country, actually literally opening FEMA camps, going after their political rival, not allowing the voices of the opposition political party to be heard without penalizing them and locking them up. And their argument against that is that they did the same thing to Trump. That's not true. Donald Trump broke the fucking law. He's got 34 felonies to confirm what I'm saying. Donald Trump stole top secret documents and stored them in Mar-a-Lago, which is illegal. You can see the pictures whenever they went down to his house in Mar-a-Lago, where he had those documents down there that he wasn't authorized to take with him. Donald Trump called President Zelensky and tried to have him interfere in an American election in which he was impeached. Donald Trump tried to overthrow this fucking government with racists and white supremacists on January the 6th. So whenever the courts or people went after Donald Trump, there were actual crimes that were committed by Donald Trump and his ilk. Some of Donald Trump's lawyers pled guilty to some of the crimes that I'm alluding to, which means it wasn't a political attack on Donald Trump. It means that he actually broke the law. So now, which is projection again, when they're saying that the Democrats went after them politically and they're using the justice system as a political tool, that's exactly what the fuck they're doing. Projection again. I mean, I've been realized this, but every time they talk and they accuse somebody of something, that's exactly what they did. Whenever they accuse the Democrats of child molestation and child sex trafficking, that's what the fuck they do. That's why Donald Trump ended up on Jeffrey Epstein's island multiple times. That's why Matt Gaetz, remember him? That's why Matt Gaetz ain't in Washington no more. Because of the vile, heinous shit that he did with children. Whenever they say that, now I'm not saying, and you know we always got the both sides of this shit. I'm not saying that there ain't no Democrats that do some crazy shit. I'm not saying that at all. Because honestly, that disgusting shit that humans do, it doesn't go down party lines. Humans do that because they're disgusting humans on this planet, right? But whenever they try to project and say that the Democrats do it only, they're the ones that's doing it. They're the ones. Pete Hegseth is a fucking woman abuser. We have a Supreme Court justice that sexually assaulted people in college. Clarence Thomas was accused of sexually assaulting Anita Hill. It's projection. Whenever they accuse people of something, that's exactly what the fuck they are doing. Now they're saying that Social Security, this is another projection, Social Security needs to be fixed because there are fraudulent people. They're telling you they're going to take your fucking Social Security, Sarge. They're telling you. And I know your old ass and ABC old ass is probably drawing Social Security. That's what, you know what, that if y'all call in tonight, that's what I want to hear y'all talk about. I want to hear, and don't answer me in such a way to where you say, well, we ain't worried about that. That's just the Democrats coming up with some bullshit. No. I want to hear y'all address the possibility of Social Security being taken away from people in this country, including you. So if that's one thing that y'all can address, because it's curious, it's interesting to me how white people are silent whenever they're taking their benefits, whenever they're starving their fucking children. They're closing the Department of Education because the level of dumb that Sergeant ABC is, they want the entire country to be that level of fucking stupid. They don't want you to learn science. They don't want you to read. They don't want you to know how to research. They don't want you, especially don't want you to know history. The level of, because Sarge don't know history, ABC don't know history. The level of dumb that those two individuals, and Mr. Solutions, let me throw him in the damn pot because that's another dumb motherfucker. The level of dumb that those three people are, that's how they want the entire country. They're dismantling the Department of Education, saying that the education should be handed back to the states. Well, this country did that before. And that's why we have a federal Department of Education, because the states don't know how to fucking be fair. You're going to have, let's take a blue state, let's say California. You're going to have a state full of geniuses, right? When it comes to the Democrats. And then a place like mine's down here in South Carolina, these people gonna be dumb as fuck. We almost have that right now. We almost have that. So they're getting rid of the Department of Education. And all of this is happening because no Republican has a spine. All the Republicans cow down to this cognitively declining, orange ass, stupid person that they use as a figurehead to try to prop him up as the best president in history. You can't make this shit up. The man literally only says about 10 or 12 phrases for the last fucking 10 years. Has not changed his fucking stroke. Does not deviate from the 10 core fucking words that he know. And these motherfuckers saying that he's a genius. What's up, East Coast? Joe? Sarge is in the chat room. And I guess ABC taking his fucking horse pills. But that man don't deviate from the 10 fucking phrases that he has been saying for the last 10 years. And they say that he's a fucking genius. What's going on is the Christian right. You know, I alluded to religion earlier. The Christian right, when it comes to Project 2025, has written up this agenda and paid Donald Trump so they can implement their agenda. Because Donald Trump ain't nothing more than a little street whore that always takes money. So they paid Donald Trump so they can implement their agenda and be racist. Just like Elon Musk paid Donald Trump because, once again, he likes multiple men at the same time. Elon Musk paid Donald Trump so he can implement his agenda. So that means if another country gives Donald Trump money, they can do whatever the fuck they want to do to this country. We don't live in America no more. We don't live in the same America that you knew before Donald Trump. And I was telling them the other week, I don't know if it can be turned around. The corruption runs so deep. So many people are allowing it, even on the Democrat side. Just like I got a perfect example of that. Just last week, I think it was last week, Chuck Schumer, which is a Democrat, he's supposed to be, one of the lead Democrats in the goddamn Senate, right? Chuck Schumer sided with the Republicans to pass a continuing resolution to keep the government funded, even though it included shit that wasn't supposed to be in there that pertains to the agenda of MAGA. We had 10 Democrats, including John Fetterman, I believe he was one of the names, that signed on with the goddamn Republicans so they can push their goddamn agenda. So when I say that these white people, they stick together, fuck Schumer and those 10 Democrats that sided with Republicans. The reason that I won't side with Republicans is because they told me that they want me dead. They told me that they don't give a shit about me getting fair treatment in this country. They told me that they want to erase the history of our contribution in this country by removing fucking African American achievement. They told me that they don't give a shit about black people in general in this damn country. So if I was up in the Senate or in the House of Representatives and they told me to fucking side with these racist ass pieces of shit, with Pete Hegseth with a fucking racist tattoo on his chest, I would deny it. So what I'm telling you is white Democrats, some of them, they got sympathy for this Nazi agenda. They will side with the Nazis. Fuck the damn black people. We're not the issue no more. We're not with George Floyd didn't happen again, so we can move on. That was a couple of years ago. Same thing with Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos and all these. Listen, I hate that Jeff Bezos is doing that because I use the fuck out of Amazon. I ain't gonna lie, I don't know how I can do without fucking Amazon. That motherfucker. I can protest Tesla though because I ain't gonna ever buy no goddamn Tesla. But fuck Jeff Bezos. Fuck all of them. But Project 2025 is being implemented, and these racist white Americans, these racist white people, including some Democrats, sympathize with the racism that these people are instituting. They will. I'll give you a perfect example. The Young Turks. I don't know if y'all heard of that internet show, but there's an internet channel called The Young Turks, and The Young Turks was this pro-democracy channel that put the needs of the people in need, like the marginalized people up front. They talked about issues. They went against the Republicans. There was just this pro-democracy. They wasn't going to kowtow to the Republicans. They was anti-Trump. They there was anti-racism, all of that shit, right? But as soon as Donald Trump ran, one of the biggest fucking YouTube channels that was, kind of Democrat, I guess they was independent or whatever, I don't know what the fuck they was. Soon as Donald Trump won, right? You seen these motherfuckers switching over just like Joe and Mika. And now all of a sudden, you see the leader of the Young Turks, sitting down doing interviews with Charlie Kirk, which is a fucking racist. You could never pay me to be in the same goddamn state as that piece of shit. You see Jink doing interviews with Charlie Kirk, interviews with Pierce Morgan, which is another fucking piece of shit, with Dr. Phil, which is another racist piece of shit. Oprah fucked up on that one. But now that the Young Turks, this is how I'm telling you white people are. They use the black plight, the black suffering to get a whole bunch of views on YouTube. And then you got all of these bleeding heart liberals that want to be pro-democracy. They signed up for the Young Turks. They paid the Young Turks. They made it one of the biggest YouTube channels out there. And all of these, they got all of the messaging right for the white people that felt sorry for the George Floyd movement, for Trayvon Martin. They had all the messaging in place, right? And then soon as these motherfuckers, soon as the white supremacists won the election, now all of a sudden you see the damn Young Turks doing interviews with the motherfuckers that say black people should be dead. Charlie Kirk said that if he got on a damn airplane and the pilot was black, that he would have to question his goddamn life or some bullshit. But now you got Jink and Anna Kasparian out there doing interviews with fucking racist ass white people. But my point that I'm trying to make here is white people will use the black plight, just like Vlad TV. They will use the black plight to get ahead, and they will use the black plight for popularity, just like Umar Johnson and Tariq Nasheed, except for they're black. But white people do the same thing as Umar Johnson and Tariq Nasheed, is that they sit up here and they market black suffering to make themselves popular. Just the same thing Candace Owens did, but she did it kind of like in a reverse fashion, where she was talking down about black people and telling them to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, just like the white man Sarge would be talking. But my point is, white supremacy has invaded every damn where, and we need to be aware and not let it get into what the hell we're thinking, because it's I guess it's easy to forget who you are and forget racism whenever the majority of the people is saying the same shit. But it's not easy for me, because fuck them people. Yeah, I might fall for some shit. I don't know. I don't see myself falling for anything that they're doing. But the reason that I'm so concentrated on it is because they're taking over all the fucking goddamn mainstream media. You seen Joe and Mika. You seen him sue CBS. You seen other mainstream media like CNN not be so harsh on Donald Trump right now. And then Elon Musk bought Twitter, so all that is a racist fucking platform. He's got Mark Zuckerberg in his pocket, which is another fucking media outlet that they can spread propaganda on. So he's taking over all the messaging, just about all the messaging in this country. So what that means to you and I is that we are subject to see all of this stuff come in that might be pro-Trump, or that might be an agenda that Trump is pushing, that we might say, that's not a bad idea. But we know it's originated with a fucking racist. Just like this Social Security thing, right? They're saying that Social Security is corrupt and all these people are getting this money. Eventually, if they keep pumping that out into the public, somebody's going to say, okay, well, shit, let them go ahead and do it. That's the way it works. The more they keep repeating that shit, the more they keep sending it out, eventually you're going to sound like fucking Sarge. That's just the way it happens. All right, so I'm going to shut up. Miss Elisa, welcome to the show. How you doing? We missed you last week.
Yeah, I know. I'm doing okay, Tyrone. How y'all doing?
All right.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine.
I meant to call in last week because it just came over me like a wave. I didn't want to talk about Trump last week.
There ain't nothing
and
wrong
I was
with
like,
that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I know where you at.
I'm a call in and see how everybody's doing. Then I'm just gonna exit early because I didn't want to talk about it. It was just on me real bad because I kept reading so many things. And what happened was I was sitting watching television in the show before the show started. I fell asleep and
Okay.
woke up. The show had been over. But that's what happened. I just could not discuss him last week. I just couldn't and then fell asleep. But we're still here. I want to read something and I'm going to go over something real quick because I didn't really have a comment on everything that you. I do. I agree with everything that you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
But let me read this because this is something else that upset me. I just saw it about an hour ago. Trump targets the Smithsonian funding for programs with improper ideology. Donald Trump, I'm not even call he's not my president. Trump signed an executive order today aimed at reshaping the Smithsonian Institution and removing what he deems improper ideology from its museums, education and research centers, and the National Zoo. The big picture. The move against the Smithsonian, which operates nearly 24 museums and galleries, is the latest effort to gut diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives, DEI. The federal DEI overhaul has resulted in the erasure of historical facts from the government sites and what Axios Delano Messi describes as a battle over how America accepts, acknowledges, or edits its past. Trump claims the concerted, widespread effort to rewrite our nation's history over the last decade. He says in an order, the vice president and the director of Office of Management and Budget should work with Congress to ensure future appropriations to the Smithsonian adhere to federal guidelines. That means, per the president's order, prohibiting spending and funds on exhibitions, buildings, and programs that degrade and shared American values, divide Americans based on race, or promote. This is an article from Axiom. So they just telling it like it is. I just wanted to interrupt and say that. Based on race or promote programs or ideologies inconsistent with federal law and policy. Trump claims in the order the vice president and OMB director are also tasked with working with Congress to make sure the Women's History Museum, which is in development, does not recognize men as women in any respect. He says the Secretary of the Interior should determine whether any public monuments, memorial statues in the jurisdiction have been removed or changed to perpetuate a false reconstruction of American history since 2020. Representatives for the Smithsonian did not immediately respond to Axios' request for comment on Thursday. Okay, so we all know what's going first. We have to be honest about that. We know what's going first. And I saw a lot of people was discussing, well, if they whatever funding, we know which museum is going to go first. The Museum of African American History. That beautiful building. Tyron, you've been there, haven't you? Or you've
Yeah,
seen it?
I seen it from afar, but yeah.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
going to go first.
well,
And
if that happens, somebody need to say something because that's just bullshit there.
no, the people they're in uproar, and that'll be the first to go, and probably the Latino history because different groups got them, but he sees that one's going to be the first one to be hurt. And like the people were saying that, well, if they get any funding, there's already different groups of different people, different very wealthy people who's already saying that they're going to be doing donations and things like that. So we have to see how that works out. But this announcement came today, and I think I know why he did that. Whether he does it or not, or tries to gut these buildings and these programs and the Smithsonian. I was waiting for that. This announcement came today because they are all at their uproar Everybody's looking at them as fools because of those leaks and things like that with that war, the operation against the Houthis. And I think it's to take people's mind off of that, but it's not going to, because worse information has come out about head sex and some of them other ones, and how this stuff is spread all over Russian propaganda and stuff, and it has been that way before the leak even happened. That's, okay, can we? What is the word? These people are inept. These people should not have these jobs. But this is the reason why this was done today. And don't be a fool to think that it's not why this is done today, because he's got to feed his sick base. So if they like, this sounds like it might be coming, but it's talking about all of the Smithsonian. But it could target the African American museum, because he's got to feed the sickness of his base. And I'm just going to say this to whomever's listening to us or not listening to us, because whenever Trump has to feed them, he comes after us, and you know that.
Right.
With different things that he does. He starts these executive orders, and he comes after us to feed his sick base. Black people, do not take the bait. Do not hit the streets. Do not protest. Do not lose it, because they're looking for a reason to stick the National Guard or whomever else on you. We have to protect our bodies. So I agree with the hashtag that's going around on social media. I'm not on TikTok, but I follow what's going on over there on TikTok, and I'm on IG and on Facebook. Hashtag don't take the bait. He always comes after us. This is just sick. And like you were talking about the TYT, I left them alone well about a year ago, because I saw which direction they were moving. They're trying to get that MAGA money. That's what this is, because their platform isn't doing what it needs to do. So they're trying to get the MAGA money, and Jink is trying to hide it on that he's a populist or some BS that he's talking. They're going after the MAGA money. And I think they were going to do that regardless. If Harris won, then they would try to continue, but still trying to get some of the MAGA money. Trump won, so they're really going after the MAGA money. I left them alone about a year ago because the stupidity that is coming from them, I just didn't have the stomach. Now will watch the damage report, and I still will watch Dr. Richie and TYT Sports. I will watch those three. But the main show, I cannot stomach Jink or Anna Kasparian. I left them alone a year ago. But that's what this is. Anytime, because see what they're doing, which is dangerous, and which a lot of people is doing is dangerous. When you give in, yes, and I'm going to say it, and I don't think it's going to get the channel taken down. When you deal with fascists, when you try to make sense with fascists, and when you try to give them a break and look the other way, that it's not all of this and that, you're going not, it's not even a slippery slope. You never talk, you never negotiate, you never do anything with a fascist. You have to get rid of that. History has shown and demonstrated that. And that's what's going on with the Trump regime. It's fascism. That is exactly what it is. There's no bones about it. And yes, just for Google, that just happens to be my opinion, not the opinion of TRS. But that's just my opinion. They're fascists. But I think it's a little more going on with them other than just fascism. I think Trump is selling out to the highest bidder. I mean, come on, he's a white man. Who knows how much longer? I'll just stop right there. He will do it. I think a lot of it, he's just selling out to the highest bidder. He owes Putin and Russia them something and different things like that. He really doesn't care. And he's promised the rich that help him get the election that he's going to do those tax cuts for them. So that's why they're trying to gut everything. They're trying to fire, gutting all of these employees, which the federal judge has told them to bring them people back. That's what a lot of the things they're doing because they want to be able to make those tax cuts permanent for the rich. He made that promise, which I did, because Trump did not, and in my opinion, which is not the opinion of DRS, Trump did not win that election.
I agree with you. I agree with
Trump
you.
did not win that election, along with the voter suppression that went on in the states. I could go over with articles and a ton of articles how they suppressed the vote in certain states and in a lot of like they claim that he won all of the the states, not the red states, not the blue states, the states that was up for grabs. What do you call them?
I know what you're trying to say. The swing states.
Swing states. That he won all of the swing states. That's impossible. Something was done. And this is just my opinion. Elon Musk did it. He did not win that election. So the fact of it is, that's why they're trying to gut this country. They're trying to gut everything from this country, anything that means anything. And racist, this is just my opinion, Google, and racist white people, racist white mayor, racist mayos will go along with it till it starts to affect them. Now, I do disagree with you, Tyrone, on one thing, the Social Security. They have been loud. They're not going to stand still for that. They're not going to stand still for that. So that's why black people, black families, don't y'all head to them streets. I don't care what you hear, what they say, what they do. We have to protect our bodies. We're not going to be the ones out here when whoever he sicks on the crowd when they go nuts. When these people go nuts and the summertime is coming, don't let it be us, because they're going to go nuts. They're getting nuts now, but don't let it be us. We have to protect our body. We're not going to be body shield for other people who did this and who caused this. Black family, don't y'all hit them streets. Do not hit the streets. I agree with the hashtag don't take the bait, because they're baiting us. Don't be baited. Let them do and say whatever it is that they're going to say. Do not take the bait. Because the minute we come out in mass, they're going to send somebody out there on us, and we have to protect our bodies.
Yeah, it's hard for me not to say don't go protest, but I understand and I agree that we shouldn't be out there protesting, because, like you said, the first thing that's going to happen is that they're going to use that as a reason to justify whatever violence that they do.
Whatever violence that they're going to do, and they're waiting on us. That's why every time something happens, we're targeted. When I saw the Smithsonian thing, they telling people, hashtag don't take the bait, don't take the bait. You know what they're coming after, don't take the bait. And I agree with that. When these people go nuts, let him sick his people on the people who helped cause this, and on the mayonnaise who know that they people is sick with racism, know they people is sick with xenophobia, and all of these things like that. They didn't do enough good. They didn't do a good enough job in raising up their next generation, so we wouldn't still have to be dealing with this. So you let them take to the streets. You let their grandmas and grandpas take to the streets over their Social Security. You let the Latinos, the one who was, I won't vote for Donald Trump, you let them take to the streets. Black family, protect your bodies. Don't take the bait, because that's what they want. And we're not going to give it to them. We did what we were supposed to do at the polls. Yep. I'm not at the polls, at the election. We tried to tell people, and a lot of our people, and a lot of mayonnaise, and some Latinos. But no, black people, no. We 13, 14% of the population here, and we're going to remain that when we come out of this. Don't take the bait. Because when I saw the whole thing with the Smithsonian, I said, well, I know what they're going after. The beautiful museum. That's what they're going after. Don't take the bait. I don't care what you hear. Like when he got rid of all of the things that Lyndon Johnson put in as far as workplace
Yeah, yeah.
harassment, workplace and segregation and all of that. I wiped all of that out. Do not take debate. And I was so happy to see our people going, well, you know, mayonnaise, they don't like to wash their hands anyway. I don't want to be up next to them. Hashtag don't take debate. Do not take debate.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that's what
They were
they're
talking
trying to
about
do.
bringing segregation back and all that kind of stuff. Twitter went foolish. We're talking about, we'll bring it on. We need some segregation, and I don't blame
Bring
them.
it back.
Yep.
That's what I said. Bring it back. If that's what you want to do. Black family, hashtag don't take debate. Because that's what they want us to do. They caused this. They did this with some help from some black maggots from our community. But they caused this. They did this, the destruction and the ripping apart of America. They caused this. They did this, and it's up to them to fix it. That's why I was telling you, them people showing out, acting a fool at them town hall meetings, and they're trying to say that those are Democrats at the meetings. No, that's their people who's upset and irate. And when they go nuts, and they're going to go nuts, let it be them. Y'all stay home. They're having a big march here. I think this is going to be all over the country, but it's going to be headed, and the biggest part is going to be here in the DMV. I think April 5th. I think that's what I think it's the 5th. I'd have to look that up. And I see up and down the streams, Black family, hashtag don't take debate. Y'all stay your ass away from that, because it's going to be a huge one. I mean, huge, all across the country, and they're hoping for 1 million or 2 in D.C. They're going to get it. But the Black family that lives in the little cubbies in the parts of the city, stay home, watch it on TV. All of us who live in the Washington, D.C. suburbs, stay home. Watch it on TV. Don't none of y'all get on no buses, no nothing. And the white folks is asking, well, the mayonnaise people are like, well, that sounds kind of racist, because y'all part of this country too. Yeah, we're part of this country. We will be here for the cleanup, but we're not going out there in mass in these streets. We already know what's up. You all let your people do this. You all are going to have to be the one to clean it up. We are not going to be body shields. Not this time. We gave you the recipe on how to protest, on how to get things done. Take it. We gave you the book on how to do it, and so many countries has used what we have done, our people did during the civil rights era, with the protests and this and that. Many different groups throughout the world since then has used that architect. We've given you the architect. Take it and use it. We're going to preserve our bodies. Now, I'm saying that, Elisa, not TRS. This is my word, not TRS. I'm saying that. And I think that we need to, or black people, black families, to lead it. Don't, no. That march, that this, that, stay ass on. There's going to be some. I expect to see some sprinkles, and let it just be sprinkles. Because we didn't do this, Tyrone. We didn't do this.
No, I mean, everybody came out during the election, and they was on message. They was on point. They was trying to recruit everybody to go to the polls, and so everybody did what they supposed to do.
Yes, the men did too. So yeah. There you go. So we didn't do this. All of this hate and this foolishness. That's why I don't like to see our people when they're acting xenophobic, when they're acting homophobic and transphobic. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because all that does, it's going to help to work against us in the long run. Don't do that. Don't be xenophobic, because I get on people all the time and they come up on like my social medias and stuff talking that foolishness. I call it out. Stop with the xenophobia. Stop with the homophobia. Stop with the transphobia. I don't do that. Stop that. If that's not your community, mind your damn business. I'm not a part of the LGBTQ plus IA community either, but I want everybody to have rights. Don't be like that. Don't do that. Mind your business. Let everybody live. Because look at the mess we're in now. They use transphobia to get us in this mess. They use homophobia to get us in this mess. They use xenophobia to get us into this mess. And our black people, we got to stop with this because it hurts us. And all this women hate, the reason TRS started in the beginning, all this women hate and incels and red pill and all of this foolishness. It just, and you know, the Trump administration, they use his people, they use that red pill and that women hate. They use it to that, to help advance what they're trying to do. And I knew that that was going to be a danger for us if we kept that up. That's why I joined your team. And look at where we are now. We have managed to calm it down some in our community. But look how bad it is. Look how bad it is throughout the whole country. That red pill and women hate and women should be in their place and this and that. Look what that has gotten the country. Look where it has gotten us. We're on a cliff here. And when you say you don't think it can be fixed, it can be fixed if we're able to slow it down and stop it. It can be fixed before too much stuff. Go ahead.
Like if it can be fixed, it ain't gonna be no time soon, and it's gonna take decades to undo what they're doing now. Because what I'm saying is that you're gonna have people that is totally against Donald Trump, but some of these people that are gonna get in power actually sympathize with Donald Trump. There's a lot of white people on the left that actually believe in.
I don't think they necessarily sympathize with him. I don't think they necessarily sympathize with him. You take like Schumer, because the last time we were talking about it when they were supposed to vote on that proposal, I said on the line before I got off, well, Schumer has changed his mind. He said he's going to vote for it. An excuse that he gave. No, his Wall Street people and big business, some people like that, they got in touch with him and told him, no, we got to get this budget. You got to do this. That's what that was.
Well, I mean, to me, the excuse that he gave was that if he allowed the government to close, then that would allow Elon Musk and Donald Trump to just go ahead and run ramshot because they would have put in emergency powers and all that kind of stuff. And everybody was prepared for that. Everybody was prepared for that.
But that was a lie. But when you pass this budget, you're helping them to run ramshot over everything.
Yep.
He did that because of Wall Street bigwigs and the people who own these corporations and stuff. It got in his ear, and they told him, if you let things shut down like this, that's what that was with Schumer. That's what that was. And the problem with the Democratic Party, neither side were really worth a cause. But the problem with the Democratic Party, what I will always stand on, and I'm not a Democrat, I'm an independent. I will always stand on, they are not the same as the Republicans. They will at least give you a piece of chicken. The Republicans don't intend to give you a bone. Now, but the problem was a lot of these Democratic in the House, not all of them, in the House, Senate, all of them have taken too much money. They've taken too much money over the years. They've all taken the money. So they got people they owe stuff to. You can tell, like I talk about, what is the guy? Hakeem Jeffries. He's taking too much money. He's taking more money from one particular group that I'm not going to say, because that will get the channel shut down. He's taking more money from them than any other Republican or Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
So they owe these people. And they're trying to do what they think they should do, but they owe people. Schumer owes people. Pelosi and them, they owe people. And when they allowed all this money to get mixed up into politics like it is now, that was the biggest mistake when they allowed this to happen. But all these rich people just are giving it, these donors and these groups and these PACs to just give all this money. And the Democrats, a lot of them, they owe people.
Well, it was. I think it was George Bush that the Supreme Court passed the Citizens United that says corporations are people, and that's when
you got exactly
really
right. That's what it was, and we have been going downhill ever since when they allowed that. So that's the Democrats' Party problem. They've taken too much money along with everybody else. So when they come out and do things, and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe what the hell is wrong with Schumer? I thought it was going to be united. And some of these other ones that go along and vote that he's able to convince, they owe people because they done took too much money. And if we had kept money out of politics like it should have been, we might be looking at a different story right now. I mean, look, Elon Musk bought the United States for, what was it, 270 million or whatever he was.
Yeah, he paid for the presidency.
That was cheap. That was cheap. He bought it on the cheap. And then Trump owed people too from back before he was president. Putin and all them different people. He owed people. They owe people. And that's why they do the things that they do. And they promise these rich people these tax cuts, and they're going to try their best, even if they got to gut everything to give it to them. And even if the country is just a feather, you can pick up and just blow. They promised all of this. What type of tax cuts and money they intend to be getting when the country ain't nothing no more. That is just odd to me. But then you got different groups working on this thing. You got the racists mixed up under the party. They want everything mayo. Then you got the rich. They want the tax cuts so they can rule. You got different factions working up under that Trump tent. And they all got their heads banging against one another. And the people are the ones that's going to suffer. But we have been doing good. Our people, the black people, boycott. And it's not just us boycotting. Target is on life support. It works. Walmart has lost money.
You boycott.
Amazon has lost money. So, I mean, that's how we could do it. But stay our black behind off the streets.
Yeah, you boycott and you try to educate people. And I say try to educate them about politics, because we come from a time where people were just like poo-poo in politics. They said it ain't gonna help us and all this kind of stuff. But go ahead and educate people about politics, because politics is what's running this country. And you can see that the racists got control of politics, and the racists are able to do whatever the hell they want to do.
And the religious them over there. Yeah, they over on, they got they mouth in it, they money in it. And we just got a big mess going on right now. We have a big mess. And it doesn't take much for people to get brainwashed, because we got a lot of black MAGAs. Thank God we don't have an attunement or an abundance of them, but we have them. And a lot of them are quiet right now. A lot of them are really quiet right now, because as they're seeing things. But, screw them too. But, I mean, we got a mess. It's a mess. And we knew it was going to be a mess, but hoping after the election went the way that it went. Not saying that Harris was savior, but it wouldn't be this.
Right.
It wasn't going to be this. So, I mean, and we see the plans. Their plans is to gut this bitch, which is America. And like Elon say, try to build it. What is some kind of foolishness that he says? They don't care if all. That's a lot of people. It's not just us who's at risk. It's a lot of people at risk.
Yeah, that's what bothers me is you got an unelected guy up there in Washington making decisions, cutting
and lying the whole time and lying. Like all them lies he's telling about Social Security. Like when he came up there and the media, they when he did that interview, they didn't even bother to correct him. Like he said, he found out all of these millions of children are getting Social Security. Yeah, they always have. That's not fraud. Those are children whose parents, somebody's dead, somebody is disabled, they cannot work anymore. Children, parents who are no longer able to work and contribute, their children have always gotten Social Security. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I believe disabled people can get SSI when they're young. I guess you got to qualify. I don't know how it works, but
like he was talking about that there was 2 and 3 and 4, 8-year-olds getting Social Security. They're not getting Social Security because they're disabled. They're getting Social Security because they have a parent that is disabled that can't work, or they have a parent who's dead That's why they're getting Social Security. If the child, if a child was disabled or something like that, then he would be getting government help, such as Medicaid and different other checks and different things like that to help. But when a child is getting Social Security, that is because they have a parent that's dead or disabled. And he said that that's fraud. And no one corrected him. Well, no, that's not fraud. The reason children are getting Social Security checks is because they have a disabled parent that cannot work, or they have a parent that's dead. That's why they're getting Social Security. That's how that works. And it's just
No, I think kids can get it if they sick
no,
or something.
I don't think no children. No, our children can't get Social Security. I don't think. Let me look that up before. I don't like to give out misinformation. But I think children get Social Security because they have a disabled parent. That's always been my understanding. But hold on, let me look.
Yeah, look like it says to qualify for SSI, a child must have a disability, blindness. Family must have limited resources. But I'm trying to say if Elon is calling that fraud, it's not fraud, because that's what the whole thing was built for, to help people like
it's
that.
because they're getting it because they are limited. They have a limited income resources.
But the child got to be disabled or something. Hold on.
Let me see. Yes, children are eligible for supplemental security income (SSI) benefits. Eligibility requirements: child must meet the following criteria: have a medically determinable disability, significantly limits their daily activities, be under the age of 18, have limited income resources, and then the whole parents thing too. If you have a parent that's dead.
Yeah. So I mean, what I'm trying to tell you is Elon is reading.
Blind,
yeah, he's reading the rules wrong,
yeah.
and he's trying to demonize these people who qualify anyway. They've been qualified.
It's usually people who cannot work.
No, you're right. You right about the children getting the stuff for the disabled parents, because I know people who doing that. But whenever you said Elon was trying to demonize these children are born with disabilities that, hell, they're a citizen of this country, and this country's supposed to take care of that child.
And they're supposed to take care of that. And some children have parents who are dead and who have parents who are disabled. So like when my cousin was sick because of kidney failure, he had to have a new kidney and liver. And so he couldn't work. He was, I'm not going to say what he was doing, but he couldn't work. He had an underage son who he worked his whole entire life for. Everybody in the family has always worked, paid taxes, paid into Social Security, but he couldn't do that job anymore because of him being ill. So his son was able to get Social Security. His son is now grown, but his son is now grown. He has had his things done, his transplants and stuff like that. So he's back. He went back to work after his transplants and his body built back up. He went back to work. He's back working now, and his son is young grown, but he's still young grown. But he was able to get Social Security during that time because he had a parent that could not work. And once he was able to get where he needed to be, his father's back working and doing his thing now. Well, he doesn't need it anymore because he's young grown, and he graduated college too as well. His mother was working, paid for him, put him through college, but he was able to draw Social Security because he had a father that was disabled for a while. And that's what that type of stuff is for.
Yeah, and what I realize is what we're not hearing is if they finding all this fraud and saving all this money, why ain't they telling us what they're doing with the money?
They're not finding fraud. That's just it. Because if you read like different websites and things like on Axios, the different things they have very good reporting. They're not finding fraud. They're lying about it.
Yeah, they're claiming that they finding it, but I'm saying if they claim that they're finding it, why ain't they telling us what they're going to do with the money?
They're doing all this gutting and cutting so they can get their money to do those tax cuts. But even if they do the tax cuts for the wealthy, they're still going to add, I said, some $20-something trillion onto that anyway. So it's like they're gutting the country, and they're gutting all of these like the departments of this and this and that, adding to the unemployment, and they're doing. And the thing is, so the services that you needed with the federal government is a large employer for the United States. They are. So they have added to the unemployment, and the amount of people. I was watching a documentary about that, about the amount of money that the federal government employs. They don't employ as much as private industry. They just don't. But the amount of people that they do employ, it's kind of, they didn't say drop in the bucket, but they were saying the amount that they do employ is nowhere near what private industry employs. So gutting it like this is absolutely stupid and tearing up and killing the services. So, but that's the whole point, to gut and tear up the country. And you have racists who go along with that, just so long as they can be racist towards people of color. You have xenophobes, just so long as they can be xenophobic towards people who are not Mayo. You have ignorance, so they can be racist and homophobic and transphobic against people who are not like them, who are just different. And just letting people have their rights, that's none of your business. If you're not part of that community, then don't be part of it, but let them be. And this is the thing that I don't get. People just have such a problem with it.
Yeah, I don't think the whole trans and gay conversation should be political. But because society needs to have a conversation with gay and trans people about the way they conduct themselves, and I'm willing to have that conversation. I don't disagree.
We can have a conversation, but you don't go obstructing people's rights.
Yeah,
gutting programs and things like that. Whatever conversation you want to have with them, have the conversation.
Yeah.
But don't be gutting and taking away people's rights. You don't do that. That is not the way that should be done. Let people live. So let people live. This is how I look at it. Let people live. And we've got to get out of this homophobia and xenophobia. Our community is a lot of homophobia, transphobia, and xenophobia. We got to get out of that. But the
you
thing,
can't put that genie back in the bottle. That there's no way you're gonna undo that.
But the thing is, the worst thing that has always been plaguing this country is hate.
Yeah.
Racism. That has always been our biggest nemesis. That is plaguing this country, and it's about to take the country down. That has plagued this country more so than anybody being xenophobic, more so than anybody being homophobic or transphobic. It's racism, it's hate. It's Mayo hate and racism, something that they cannot get over. They cannot get past that. And we was all thinking, had this discussion last week. They can't get past it, Tyrone. They can't. That's why they keep raising up the next generation and the next generation and the next generation. They cannot get past it. It's a sickness that they can't get past. And they would rather the whole country tear up just so long as they can be that. Instead of getting past it. They can't get over it, Tyrone. They just can't.
They can't.
For a lot of years, I thought that they were getting past it. And a lot have. They've been able to each his own, mind their business, let people live, but not enough of them are able to get past it. They're just not. And what proves it to me, when I was watching one of the alternative media, I think it's Midas, one of them, and they were talking, the polls and things that's been going around, and they were bringing up the different things that the administration has done, and they were saying 80% is against this, that. And when they got to DEI, only 30%. That was very eye-opening to me.
Right.
Because that's leftist and right.
Yeah.
Both sides.
That's why I say you got to be careful out here.
They cannot get past racism.
Right.
Because they all know that DEI, what it's really about, but when they hear it, even the leftists, they're still thinking black, they're still thinking Latino, They're still thinking people of color. They can't get past it. And I said, just 30%? That should be way up there. I thought everybody figured out what DEI was about. They know what it's about, but it's still that nagging thing with these people. They cannot get past it. Mayo cannot get past their racism. They just can't. They can't. And that's what this is. And that's the problem I have with the alternative media, because they do a lot of good reporting,
Right.
but they're not saying it. They're not saying what it is. We know what this is. We know why we're
That's
here
been my
right
whole
now.
problem. You're absolutely right. So the mainstream media don't say what it is, and the people on YouTube that supposed to call themselves alternative media, they don't say what it is.
They're not saying it either. They're not saying it either. It's hate.
Yep.
That's what's driving this. Hate is what drove World War II, Nazi Germany. Hate is what's always driving all types of things. When you see this type of stuff going on, it's always hate is the fuel behind it. And I think not enough of us, I had to come to a realization myself in the past few years.
Mm-hmm.
We just not going to get past this hate thing. We just not. We're just not going to get past this.
No. I mean, it's ingrained. That's what I say. It's in the genetics of everybody. And because they didn't address it when it first happened years ago, after they freed the slaves, they just let it fester. So whenever the black people was getting hated on and discriminated against, they allowed that to fester. So that allowed them to do things to other people, women and other minorities, and because didn't nobody say nothing about black people, you know.
Yeah, it just grew, and it grew back, and it became more popular. And all it took was for somebody. Well, I'm not going to say that Orange came up with this on his own. No, he has a thing pushing him to do this, and he'll go along with whatever it is so he can get what he wants. But all it took was for somebody to strike a match, and it's blazing right back. I wasn't here during the civil rights movement and all of that. Most of the people who contributed to this show, they were either babies or weren't here either, you included. When all of that was going on, we didn't grow up through, well, not all of us, did not grow up through Jim Crow. We didn't grow up, but we're right back here again. We're right back here again. And had anybody told me this 15 years ago, I'd be like, no, you're kidding. That was the come to Jesus moment that I had to come to. We're right back here again because they never dealt with it. And you have one group over here, the Mayos, which we would call the good people. They were preaching to us about how it's wrong for their people to. No, you didn't need to come to us with that. Don't come to us with that. Don't come to our neighborhoods preaching to us. We know what it is. We got it. You needed to do more of that with your own people. It wasn't enough of them. It wasn't enough. And we're right back here again.
Yeah, because the messaging,
right back.
The messaging is off. I think one of the things that had the biggest effect back in the day whenever the civil rights movement got all that stuff, they actually called white people racist. They would say it.
Mm-hmm.
And white people, that is one of the things that they hate the most, is to be called a racist. So we won't call white people racist no more. The media won't
they
call.
They want to hear it.
Yeah, they don't. Right, but why are we stopping ourselves from saying that you are racist? We ought to be able to say to their face that you're a racist. They need to hear it. They need to know that they're racist. Their children need to know that their parents are racist. And then perhaps, since they don't want to be called racist, they'll stop being racist.
They'll stop that. And they'll raise their children better to want diversity. And a lot do, because I know a lot, and I've seen a lot. They do. They welcome diversity, and they want diversity. So some have been doing a good job, but it's just not enough. I don't need you coming to black neighborhoods preaching to us about how things should be and fussing about your own people. Don't come to us fussing about how your people should be. Take it to them. Take it to them. Don't bring it to me. Right. I already know. Take it to them. And they just didn't do a good enough job. They did not do a good job. They didn't do a good job at that at all. And that's why we're right back here again. They don't want to be called racist while being racist. They don't want to be called hateful while being hateful. But that's just what you are. And Google, this is my opinion, not the opinion of TRS. But that's just what you are. You're hateful. Because when I heard them say 30%, and I said that 30% who was against all of this DEI stuff, that he's getting rid of all of that, I said that's just black people and other people of color made up that 30%. I said, see right there, see, and that's the good people. That's the good people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just hateful. It's just hateful. And I was hoping over the years that they were getting past it, but they're not. They're just not. And I'll tell you something so simple when I realized that they're not getting past it. This is a simple thing. It's very simple, and it's not even meaningful. But I'm going to tell it anyway. As I said, I've said on here many times, I am a doll collector. I have a lot of money into my doll collections, old dolls, vintage dolls, new dolls, some of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I belong to different groups, and I belong to different groups with different types of mediums and different things like that. And when I see certain ones, their entire collection is mayo. You got a problem. You have a problem. Something that you collect, you know the black dolls are worth more.
Right.
They just are, especially when they have run its course. They're no longer on the market. The black dolls is the ones that's always worth the most. Always. And I'm not going to get into why. They just are, because they make less of them. They're always worth, but your entire collection is mayo. You got a problem. Because if I can have some of everybody, some sprinkled in to my black doll, I'm a black doll collector. But if I can sprinkle in and have some of other stuff in here, that's because I like the diversity. The majority of my collection is black doll. I always go for the black doll. And that's why if I want to sell something later, it's worth more. And some of the things that I've heard them say in the groups, the way how they describe things, oh, that doll's hair, or that this, that. And I said, these people is never going to get over it. Ever. Ever. Now, I just gave you a very simple thing that I noticed throughout the years as it relates to them. They're just not going to get over it. They're just not. And even on the simplest thing, down to collecting a damn doll. Something as simple as collecting a doll.
Yeah, it's ingrained into them. It's ingrained into them. They can deny all they want to, but it's ingrained into them. That's why, we was on here talking for years, trying to warn people about racism, but you would have people come in here and block, like Mr. Solutions. You don't know what you're talking about.
That's all y'all talk about.
Yeah.
And y'all this, that. Other people would do that, and y'all this, that. And I used to try to temper it down a little bit, because we are discussing racism a bit much, because it kind of got to me too. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, it was real. And look where we are. We're right back here again. We're right back here again. And I was wrong for trying to temper it down. And you was the one always leading the fight. And I said, well, Tyron, everything is not, because I think I said that. Everything is not about race. Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. I was wrong. But when you have to have a come to Jesus moment and realize, hey, this is what this is. I'm not stupid. I'm able to recognize it when it's true. I'm able to admit when I was wrong about some things that everything isn't, and everything isn't. But the majority of everything is. The majority is.
Well, yeah. Now that you said that they're trying to get rid of the museums and take down the contributions of black people, use DEI as an excuse. They're just trying to rewrite African American history and erase our contributions. And then they say that, I forgot how you put it, but you say it's whenever something is on display, it's got the what'd you say? You said it can't be. It's going to have to show what real Americans think or whatever it said. I forgot what you said, mm-hmm. But that means white. It's got to be the white vision of
It's
things.
got to be that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say the name, but I had it posted on Facebook some years ago, and since I got started up with TRS,
Yeah.
and people doxing people, I took down a lot of information. But let's just talk about the Tuskegee Airmen. I have a very close family member that was a Tuskegee Airman, and I had pictures of all of us, the family and everything. Like my grandma's first cousin was Tuskegee Airman. My grandfather was a war hero. I heard all these things. They were taking all of these things down. I'm not going to say the names because I don't want people looking up who I am in my family. But yeah, it was disheartening. But it's not going to lead me to the streets to protest. Take it down.
That's just racism right there. That's all that is.
That's just pure racism.
Who's this? Let me see who this unknown caller is. Who's this?
This is Miss Lady. Good evening.
What's happening, Miss Lady?
Hey, Miss Lady.
Hey, Elise. I missed you last week.
Yeah.
You weren't on the line.
I'm back.
Oh,
how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. I'm hanging in here. I got some
That's
stuff
good.
going on, but it is what it is.
Life. Life.
Yeah, it's life. But what you said is so true, and Tyrone, about them taking away all the Black contributions to this country is so sinister and evil. I think they're taking away references to Black people in the Smithsonian now. They have to take away the pictures and all of that. And I'm thinking, so what is the real end game? I think it's so sinister. They want to, propagandize Black people into being unworthy, ignorant, dumb, unintelligent, weak, without courage, without insight, without wisdom, without intelligence. And thus, when they begin this pumped up discrimination against Black people, there's nothing out in the public sphere to dispute that in terms of government. You see what I'm saying? So it's like when they had slaves, they had to depict slaves as dumb and ignorant and unintelligent and less than a human being. And this is what they're going after, I believe. So that there'll be no empathy toward doing that in terms of how we'll be viewed, how, things that will be done.
Right.
And I think it's very sinister. I think what they have planned. And so, as we're viewed as less than human and not worthy and not contributing to the country, the well-being of the country, and not intelligent, then it's like, well, we don't have to bother with those people. Let's not waste time, energy, and money and try to even help them or support them. I mean, it's just so evil and sinister.
Yeah, and they're able to get away with it because they laid the groundwork over the years, talking about BLM, talking about being woke, talking about critical race theory, banning books, and then DEI, and then there ain't nobody opposing it,
Because if they could snatch American citizens off the street and throw them in those prisons and take them, send them to so some of those people I heard died over there in that prison in El Salvador.
It was in Florida.
It's supposed to be
it was three people died in Florida.
Out the country. They sent some of them out the country to this prison that's supposed to be the worst prison, I think, one of the worst in the world, full of real hardened, crazy criminals. And some have died that they sent there allegedly. I like this show. Listen to it and let me know what you think. It's called I've Had It, I apostrophe VE, and it's two blonde women, two white women, and they are going at them. They're calling folks white trash. They're calling them stupid, ignorant. They're talking about folks came from racist countries, racist families, and blah. Oh, they're going at it. One is attorney and one is the interior designer and their friends.
I think I seen
They
them.
leave no stone unturned. And so I haven't seen anybody quite like them in terms of like white women going at the administration and Musk. I haven't seen it. There might be some others. I don't know who they are. But yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, they're not going to just stop. If they can get away with it, it's going to go to the Supreme Court, whether or not they can do it, which they really is unconstitutional to do that. They're just violating people's due process rights and that kind of thing. And we're not in an active war. We're not in no country's invading us. They have no right to do that, to send them out of the country to that horrible prison. They were saying, I was listening to maybe one of the attorney today, I've had it, or maybe another show, that prison is so bad that they will beat those prisoners, some of those prisoners, to death over there, and they will keep their rotting corpses next to the jail cells of other imprisoned people to terrify them.
That's crazy that America is involved with something like that. That is nuts.
It's just a mess. It's a mess. It's just terrible. And I saw Christy Nome with her male behind taking a picture in front of them, in front of the prisoners, with their heads shaved and their clothes off. And it's just like,
yeah, that's sick.
These people, did y'all have children? Y'all have no humanity at all. It's like these people just acting out their best wet dream, these male people, where they can just do anything to anyone. It's just like,
Antoinette, your line is open. How you doing tonight?
Tyrone.
Yeah, can you hear me? Elisa.
Hello?
You're on. Can y'all can hear me? Hello? What in the world? Can y'all hear me on YouTube? About critical race theory, banning books, and then I don't know what's going on here. Hello? I don't know what's going on here. Oh, you can hear me on YouTube. Miss Lady, can you hear me? Oh, Lord, I don't know what's going on. I'm going to hang up and call back in.
This service is provided in high definition by freeconferencecallhd.com. There are 10 participants in the conference. Q&A session has started. The recording has started.
All right, let me see. Okay, can you hear me, Elisa?
Yeah, what happened? Was that my phone or yours?
I don't know. I just hung up and called back in, too. So I don't know what
happened. Yeah, that's what I did. I just hung up and called back in.
I can't hear Miss Lady no more. Who's this unknown caller here? I just opened somebody. Yes, who is this?
Yeah, this was Miss Lady. I was
yeah, I guess everybody got cut off.
I said something must be wrong. I hung up.
Yes, everybody got cut off because I was talking too, and I ain't hear nobody.
Oh, Donald Trump. Donald Trump coming.
I just wanted to make one point about them prisons. They're horrible. I believe that they don't want to just stop with illegals or people that look illegal. They are not going to stop there.
Nope.
You know who they're going to go after.
Yep.
And if you get out there and protest, they can call you a terrorist and snatch you up.
Yep. Because let me say this, Miss Lady. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, because when people was because I saw some of the black magazines, some of the black men when Orange was saying that what is it? Was it the 14th Amendment? And I think it's the 14th Amendment, and that they signed that was for children of slaves. And every time he brought that up, people said children of slaves.
Mm-hmm.
You had to listen to how he was saying it. I heard someone else was talking about that on the video, and it made me start thinking, no, we're not children of slaves. We are descendants of children of slaves. We're not the children of slaves that were given citizenship. We're the descendants of them. All of the children of slaves, they've been dead. So I just don't think that they're going to stop with documented. I don't think they're going to stop that. I don't think that that's the goal. I think we're the goal, the ultimate goal.
Yeah, I could see them taking like if it's a protester, a black protester, and he's raising a whole lot of noise. I could see that, them sending them to Guantanamo Bay because they done created a movement or something.
Because that's why he's going. I think one of the main reasons why he keeps doing so much talking, we'll just see what the Supreme Court does. I know the federal judges block that as it relates to birthright citizenship. And you let him go messing down in that, and some kind of how they're able to get something done. I just honestly think we are the ultimate goal in that. Is it going to come to that? I don't know. I don't think so. They're going to get that far, but I think we are the goal. I agree with Miss Lady on that.
Let me see if Antoinette, you there? Okay, she pushed one while ago. Are you there, Antoinette? I guess not. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna stop her at these Hispanic people or these.
They're not the illegal, the migrants, the undocumented, and even the ones that are here who they are documented, like the Haitians and different other groups who were here legal. He's gonna cancel all of that. So I guess they're gonna get to sending them long as they just send them back to their home. It might not be safe, but you're just sending people any old place like that.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think that they're not the target. They're not the ultimate target. I just don't think so. I don't think that they're the ultimate target. Is it going to come to that? I don't think so.
Well, it's
the fact that we are the main target.
Well, they're attempting to because they've went on these college campuses and they've got 2 students that are here on one of them is a permanent visa and the other one was a student visa, and they deported both of those people. So those people are legally in the United States of America, and they're under the laws of the United States of America. And you can't just deport people that are here legally. That doesn't make any sense, but they're doing it. So what I'm saying is that they're testing to see what type of pushback they get,
See what they could get away with. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. To see what they could get away with.
And it's infringing on people's freedom to association, freedom of speech.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're in abject fear, you're going to be arrested, thrown in some horrible prison, deported. Then that is chilling. Has a chilling effect on free speech and freedom of association, because you're not going to want to be out there with protesters. I think at the end of the day, with these people, they'll arrest their own people and do the same thing at the end of the day. But they got to get anybody that's going to object to what they're doing. But they have to start with the scapegoats, which are illegals, and then the black people.
Yep.
and then the people that are citizens that don't look like them, and then it's going to end up being them.
Because none of us on this phone, we don't have the complexion for the protection. We just don't. And that's why when I see black people still going on with this foolishness, some black people still going along with it. Like I told this black dude the other day, somebody that I know, I said, when they come banging on your parents' door, cutting off their Social Security, I said, I'll be the first person to tell you I told you so, because that's who I am. I am a I told you so person. So
I hear you. And that's why a lot of people, they're serious about getting us out of here. I know someone who's planning on getting us out of here in July.
Where they going?
I wish
they going to Thailand.
Okay.
They already have some friends that live there that moved there, some black men, and they don't ever plan to come back here. You know, it's much cheaper. Yeah, the weather is so hot, so that's the only thing. And, you know, I'm sure at times you wish you miss, you know, the black culture, you know. But
I don't blame them.
But they've weighed it out. They've weighed it out, and it's like Sailor B.
Yeah, it's too much stress.
I don't blame them.
People don't realize the mental stress that we have to live through in this country. They don't even take that into account.
If I could, I would have swallowed. And had I known we was gonna be right back here, I would have planned for that some years ago and got the hell out of here. I probably would have went to Toronto. But as long as I could take me and mine with me, and for those who want to stay, y'all stay. Like my brother knows, or my mother, she would have been game to go, and whoever else, I would have started planning on this 10 years ago.
I even seen some videos to where all this crap that they talk about Mexico, there's a lot of people moving to Mexico and living just fine. I mean,
Joe said he's gonna be moving there. Joe, he's moving to a town near Merida, Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
My mother told me to move to Toronto 20 years ago. I wish I had listened to her.
I wish I had did that 10, 15 years ago had I known, because it's going to be hard to do it now. But I wish I had done that. I got the hell out of here. I went to Toronto. Because I've been there a couple of times. It's not too much of a difference there than it is here. I mean, as far as the feel of it, you see what I'm saying? But I wish I would have got the hell out of here until the things got back together, coming back. Because I'm not gonna lie, I love the flavor and the feel of this country, but I would get the hell on. My people say, why don't you go to Africa? I don't want to go there. I would go to Toronto.
Yeah, I've been to Vancouver, and I during the summer it was beautiful. Oh my God, it was so beautiful. The weather. They had a Caribbean festival going on. They got a huge, beautiful park called Stanley Park. People came from all over the place, especially like on the West Coast. They from Washington and you know the
people out there, yeah.
Yeah. It was a big festival. It was nice. It was fun.
So that's why I would go. I would have been gone had I been able to do it now. But they're not going to be letting people in unless you got a bunch of money.
Oh, you got to have a bunch of money. Even if you have money and you're financially independent, and you're even a Caucasian person, it's hard now. It's hard to get.
It doesn't matter.
Before it was open. Now it's like don't be.
It was open. They're not gonna let Americans in, black, white, no. So it doesn't really matter with what the things are now. But had you done it before, you know, I could have made that happen. But
they have a lot of Arabs in Vancouver. Years ago, I was there, and they had a lot of. A hundred little Arab dudes was driving black BMWs.
Yeah, they got a lot of them.
Yeah,
Toronto does too. They have Toronto has a lot of Arabs. They have a lot of East Indians. They have
Yep.
a lot of black people, and it's not. That's where I would have went to Toronto because I
It's
knew people
international,
who lived
huh,
there.
there. That's what my mother said.
Very
People from
international,
everywhere.
very multicultural, and that's where I prefer multicultural places. So that's where I would have went. All up through Ontario. So, and the people, when I've been there, the people ain't look at us no different, because they're used to black people.
And they
So
got
it's just
good
like
health
being
care
here.
for their
Yeah.
citizens. I think college is real cheap. They just care more
But it's
about their citizens.
They do.
This place don't
Things
care.
is a little more Things cost a little more. I don't know about Vancouver, but I know in Toronto, things cost a little more there than it does here. But I mean, you would just get used to that.
Yeah, you don't really need a whole lot. When it comes down to it, we buy too much
You really
stuff
don't.
anyway.
Yes,
we don't
we do.
need half that stuff we be buying.
Exactly.
I look at my closet, and so I didn't need all them clothes and shoes. Of course,
I need all that stuff.
I
agree with you. I need all that stuff, designer bags and shoes and coats and matching this and that. Closet full of stuff. And then I collect dolls. I was like, I could have calmed that down years ago. You don't need all this stuff. You don't need all this stuff.
Nope. Sure don't.
And you learn that when you get older. It's, well, you got it now, but had I had it to do over again, I would have bought less, put more
I
money
would
in
have
the
bought
bank.
less, invested more, and I would have moved out of this country to Canada.
Me too. Yeah,
Canada or Costa Rica, someplace, okay? When it was cheap. A friend of mine went to Costa Rica, about 20 years ago, because he was thinking about moving there. And he said he could have bought a huge condo right in their capital, this city. The city is a city.
Mm-hmm.
It was a big condo, like 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. I think it was like 1,500 square feet, 1,800 square feet. It was huge for like 100 and I think he said it was like 120,000. That was like over 20 years ago. He said what he had concerns about was he noticed in front of their bank they had like security with like big guns. Like, like
you said that was in Costa Rica?
Yeah, that was years ago. So he said I was concerned about that.
But there's a lot of crime down there. Ain't that why they do that?
They have crime. They have crime. They have crime and they have the gangs and different things like that. But if you do it right, you'd be all right. That's just like anywhere. People say, well, go to Africa, go to Ghana. I'm not going there. I don't want to go there to live. But if everybody else is going, then I'll go too.
I hear you.
But they say the Africans they say the Africans treat you worse than other countries that get there. Cause I seen this lady on YouTube where she said she had to pay a fee for this and pay a fee for that and pay a fee and keep paying.
They see you coming, Miss Big Rich America.
I'm like, Jesus Christ.
And they thinking you rich, and they charge you
her
more.
Her argument was she was going home. So if she's going home, why she got to pay to go home? So that
was going on. They were charging Americans more. As soon as you open your mouth, they knew. I mean, Africa is fine, but that's just. I like seasons. I like cold weather. I like snow. I like seasons. It's just I just never like that. I'm just gonna go there to.
I'll go to Africa. I don't mind being hot 24 all year round. I don't mind it.
I do. It depends on the country. I don't know. It's just never been anything that I wanted to do. I don't care which country it is. And I don't know. I like seasons. I do. I like the cold. I like when you down. Oh, you down? That's why you down in Myrtle Beach, Tyrone. I like the seasons. I like the snow. I like the cold. And then when it's ready for spring, spring and summer. When it's ready for cold, bring on the
Yeah.
cold. I like to live in a seasonal place because that's where I've lived in seasonal my entire life. I don't like warm all the time. That's why I said I would never move to Florida. And South Carolina has always gotten on my nerves. We leave out of here, it was winter, and we come down here, go to around South Carolina, you got to strip because you got 30, 40-degree difference in the weather a lot of the time.
Hmm.
And what y'all call cold, it's not cold.
Well, it's kind of cool
And
right now.
so,
I don't know. This
when you
this
say it's
this
cool,
is
what is that?
unseasonable.
What,
It's
like
unseasonably
70?
cool, huh? No, it ain't. No,
Was
it's
it
like
like 70?
no. I think we've been getting in the 48s and 50s and stuff like that lately. I don't know why.
That's kind of
And
cold.
and see,
That's kind of
yesterday
cold.
where I live, it was almost 70 degrees. It got to be the high 60s. I love moderate weather. Like I like weather in the mid 60s to like mid 80s. I like that kind of
Oh, it's a kitchen. I
weather.
don't mind. I don't mind that type of weather when it's spring, but when it's winter, I want to put on my coat, my scarf, and my gloves. I don't mind cold weather. I
Well, you
don't.
can have all that.
I like cold weather. I like cold weather.
It could
I
be
don't.
just shining on Christmas. It's fine.
I
The
want
sun
no.
is
I want
shining.
cold Christmas. I want Christmas to be cold outside. And when we have an Indian summer and it's not cold on at Christmas time, and you don't need no jacket, like it's just an unusually warm, you know. But like this particular winter, we had a good bit of snow. We had a lot of snow. We had cold weather. That's how I grew up here. And like people's like, I don't see how y'all take it. And like when we have the really bad cold, when it's like 10 degrees below and 10 degrees, they're like, how do y'all stand it? That's what my relatives from down south say. I'm like, you're just used to it. I want to be able to put on a coat, some boots, a hat, and a scarf when it's winter time. And when it's spring, spring weather. And when it's summer, I want summer to end, and I want the cold weather to come. I don't mind cold weather. When we were having all of Bola Port, vortex that was going on, when you throw ice water off in Chicago, it would freeze. Well, it was like 20, 25 degrees below there in certain areas. And here it was dipping down to like 10 degrees below, and on average 6 degrees. That was
You
okay
said
to me.
10 degrees below.
Elisa,
Yeah.
have you ever thought about going to Iceland on vacation?
That's what it
No,
sounds like she talking about.
no. I don't
Jesus.
want to be there because I know we had a funeral. My uncle had died, and the relatives came up from down south. And when we was at the grave site, we were having a it was cold. I think it was something like we were having really, really cold temperatures, 10 degrees below, 6 below. I think on average we was like at 6. The highest it would get was like 6 degrees, 7, like less, like 10 degrees.
Mm.
That would be a high. And it was cold, and we was all standing up on the outside with our coat on, excuse me, hat and stuff. And my cousins from down south, I felt for them. Because they was like, how do y'all stand this? How do y'all stand this?
Yeah, I'm getting chills
It
listening to
was
you
like,
talk. That's
and
too
I was
cold for
like,
me.
it's just winter time. And I felt so bad for them sitting out at the gravesite. And they was like, we gotta hurry this along. And it was their father. It was like, hurry this. It was like, how do y'all stand this? How do y'all stand this? It was like, yeah, it's cold. It's a little extra cold. But they said they had left South Carolina and it was like 60 degrees. I was like, see, that's too warm for me. But in the wintertime, yes. They was like, I don't see how y'all stand this. We was like, well, it's not like this all the time. On average, it'd be like 20, 30. That's like an average. If we having a regular winter, we having
That's
a mild winter, it's like 40.
that's too cold. Oh, that's too cold.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Not if you used to.
Hey, let me ask you this right here.
It's not like Chicago and New York.
Do you know anybody in up that area that got laid off because of Trump and Elon Musk?
Yes.
They
You
got
asking
fired.
me?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Yes. Yes. Few people.
That's crazy.
Yes.
Did they go back?
Few people. One of them went back. They were called back. But some of the others they're waiting to see because they've ordered to send them back.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I know quite a few people. I don't know a whole bunch, but I know quite a few. I know a few people who, that affected them, and they were talking about it. And it's really hurt the state, Virginia and Maryland and Delaware and West Virginia. But I know some people. And I know some people in Atlanta who it happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my cousins, she just went on ahead. She worked for the CDC. She was near her retirement, so she just went on ahead because they knew it was coming with the CDC. Because all I saw, you all heard what went on with the CDC in Atlanta. She took her early retirement. She went ahead and took the early retirement so she wouldn't be mixed up in that.
See, neither one of those guys. Neither one of those guys
can. She moved back down south.
Neither one of those guys can relate to working a 9 to 5. Donald Trump nor Elon Musk. So they don't know what it's like to work a 9 to 5, and they don't know when they firing these people. Yeah, they're getting rid of that employee, but that employee shopped in that area. They bought products from that area. So you're hurting the merchants too. I mean, it has residual effects whenever they lay off like that.
A lot of residual effects. Because I know, like in the state, the governor, they set up a program for laid off workers where they could get some resources and things like that. And they're going to have job fairs with the private industry, but the private industry can only absorb so much. So, and a lot of people, they were saying like the housing market, a lot of houses went on the market.
Probably some restaurants.
And things like that. Yeah, restaurants and things are closed. But yeah, I know some, not a whole bunch, but I know some that it was affected. One, a pretty good friend, her husband has a fabulous job. She had a fabulous job way up there. And they call her back. And she's not retirement age, but she can take her early retirement. She's nowhere near retirement age, but she's going to take her early retirement. Then I'm not, like my cousin did. I'm not doing this. I'm not going to do this. Things get straightened out, they get straightened out. But let me just go ahead and take this early retirement. I'm not doing this. They had to sell that big old house they live in. She's like, I'm going to take this early retirement when they call her back. Said I'm not doing it. My cousin did that too. And said I'm not going back. She moved down south.
Sister,
back down south.
Since nobody, your line is open. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. How y'all doing?
All right.
We're doing good.
Good. When you was talking about layoffs, I know of two companies. One that builds boats, and another one. I'm not going to say the names of the company that builds forklifts. Now, the one that builds boats, they laid off about 60 employees, mainly black. And the one that does the forklifts laid off 120 employees.
And that's going to hurt them
downshift.
That's going to hurt them businesses around that area, ain't it?
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. They downshifted. Instead of having 3 shifts, they went just 2 shifts, and people that were not there for 8 years or better were let go of. So they laid off about 120 employees. That was just in January.
So that probably has something. That probably has something to do with the tariffs or something, right?
Well, I really don't know. Because some of their contracts are federal, so I'm not sure if this was because of what was going to come or what was going to happen, or, because sometimes people, when you're talking about corporations, they know what's going to happen. So they kind of prepare themselves for it, the company for it. So they called it, a restructure of the company, but, they laid off 120 employees.
That's crazy. It sounds like that boat company was probably getting stuff from overseas, and they knew that they would have to pay higher prices, so they had to get rid of employees. The forklift company, probably the same thing.
Well, the marinas are having a hard time selling their boats. Mm-hmm. That's what's going on. They got these new model, expensive. We're talking about anywhere from $4.6 million.
Oh, them yachts.
Somewhere in that area. You know what I mean? Because the boats are pre-ordered. Like, the person pays for the boat before it's even made.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of the marinas, a lot of the boat companies are finding that they're not getting that $4.6 million, for a boat, a new boat coming in, and they're suffering as well. A lot of Marines are suffering as well when it comes to selling boats. So these companies that, they ship the boats to, they're having what they call a backlog of boats that are not selling. So in order to, I don't know, that's a private company, but,
Well, they probably had something to do with Trump and Elon.
Even after they laid off 60 people, let me tell you the funny thing. Even after they laid off 60 people, you saw the white people that works at the company get these titles. All of a sudden, they no longer, just this. They got this extra title with them, which didn't make any sense because that's extra money. That's money going towards them. Not, they just let off so many people. So it didn't make any sense to me. But anyway, So those are the two companies that I know of that laid off people.
Yeah, Trump and Elon up there just firing people, and I don't know what the unemployment rate is going to be after they did all this mess that they doing, but I don't know. They seem like they don't want people to work. They want people to suffer for money in this country. That might be their agenda, just to have people suffering.
And just recently, they threatened to, I don't know, if they're planning on closing the Social Security office that's in this area. They plan on closing it.
Now, how they gonna do that? And they got people around there that need that?
Exactly. So that means another group of people are gonna be laid off or out of work.
Yeah, because I think they put them buildings, offices strategically based on the population so people can get access to it. And if they don't have a building there, I don't know what they're going to do. What is these people doing to this country? Jesus Christ. I always said the racist white man, he's chaotic. He likes calamity. He likes mess. He likes it's just messed up right now.
And another thing I wanted to point out, at both of these companies, what I noticed is that a lot of the elderly are working. White Americans are working. A lot of the grandpapas, great-grandpapas, they are working. 70. I walked past and I saw these balloons and it said 81st birthday. And I said, who the hell in here 81 years old working?
That's crazy.
And then I got to think, my father is 76 and he's still working.
Right.
Because he says he still got to buy tissue for his wife. So, I'm like, why are these old people still working? I don't understand it.
Well, because shit's so high now. Everything is high. That a dollar don't go as far as it used to, and old folks has to go back into the workforce, which is crazy.
Yeah. Yes, it is. I trained a guy that was like in his 70-something. I mean, I'm like, oh my goodness, he doesn't even, his mental capacity ain't even there. to really do the job.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
just a physical body, to do the job. And even that is limited, So I was like, what in the world?
That's
But
what this
yeah,
country
they are
wants.
still working.
This country wants you to work until your grave. They don't want you to enjoy none of the shit that the rich people enjoy.
No, not when you see McDonald's still paying damn near minimum wage, and they are a company, trillion dollar company, and they make $1 billion a day just off of burgers and
You know what?
excluding the French fries and the coffee.
Now, I don't drink McDonald's, but I walked in there the other day. But they changed the whole layout of the store. It used to be like you had all these tables where people can sit and eat and all this kind of stuff, but now they changed it and they've got like a digital screen in the lobby to where you can stand at that digital screen and order your food, and then the cashier yell out to you, whenever that order is up, and they put like sofas in the dining area, and it's like less furniture in the lobby area. So that means that they don't want people in that store. So you're right. They kind of making all of this money, and now that they don't need the customer in the store, they raise the prices of the food, they don't get the workers any damn money, and they just making all kinds of money now. And the customers and the workers are suffering because the food is too high. Because you can pay, McDonald's charge, these fast food places charge like big restaurants now.
They do.
Yep.
They charge for what do you call it? A value meal? I think that's what they call. You pay $11-12 for a value meal.
See, that's
now.
ridiculous.
And remember it used to be like around $5-6.
Probably $3.
It's terrible. They charge it with everybody else with less employees. Like you said, the things in the middle of the floor where you can order. And I never use those. I always go to if I'm going to get my coffee. That's what I love from McDonald's, my coffee. I'll go to the counter.
I was surprised to look at all.
I'm not using those things.
I was surprised to see all the seats and stuff gone, and they got like couches in there and some bar stools, and it's just like spacious in there. They ain't nowhere for nobody to sit. Back in the day, McDonald's used to be crowded, full of people, but you can't get nobody in there now.
But you know what? I think one of the reasons why they got rid of a lot of their dining, because you remember when COVID was going on, they had a lot of the restaurants, and it's almost not a lot. All the restaurants had all their dining closed, the fast food and the regular restaurants. They had their dining closed. So when we came back from COVID, I noticed that a lot of like the fast foods and the smaller restaurants, they got rid of a lot of it. They didn't even bring back all the dining. They just cut most of that stuff out. Because people wasn't dining in there anymore. That helped to bring that in too. Because that's the less overhead they got to pay for if they have less dining.
And also, like in the cities, you don't have those homeless going in there pissing everywhere and touching everything, and they're
that too.
You don't have
bad.
You don't have what? What'd you say, Miss Lady?
Those homeless that are talking to themselves and smelling up the place and pissing on the floor and touching
there ain't no homeless
everything,
piss on the floor at McDonald's. You see homeless people piss on the floor at McDonald's?
Yeah, it's in the city. Yeah, in the city, like I go into town, you see all kind of people coming up in there. Yeah, in the city, like where I live at in suburbia, no, you don't see that. But you go into the cities, you go into the heart of Washington, D.C. The people be up in McDonald's doing all kind of stuff, up in the bathroom, washing and doing their stuff. It's just a mess in this very extreme urban city. Yeah, you have a lot of that. You do. I've seen it. You'd be surprised. And that's why, like, places like New York, D.C. do it too. But places like New York, they have their bathrooms and things like that locked. and you have to come in and buy something and use your receipt to go use the restroom. And as far as like the dining, a lot of the city, like especially like fast food stuff, they got rid of all of their dining to keep them people out, to keep them out.
Well, that's another problem they ain't trying to fix either. They ain't trying to fix the homeless problem in this country.
They're not gonna fix it. I just don't know what they're gonna do with all the people that they with all this stuff they're trying to do. They're gonna add to the homeless population. So they don't plan to do nothing about it.
They'll commit some crime, and then they're gonna do their best to charge them with a felony, and I guess send them to
and lock them up.
Mm-hmm. Where is Gitmo? That was supposed to be a horrible place.
And Cuba, isn't it?
You talking about where they sending those people to?
She said, "Where's Gitmo?" I said, "That's Cuba."
Yeah. Guantanamo Bay is in Cuba.
Why do they call it Gitmo?
This short for Guantanamo Bay.
Sure. My ex-husband was stationed in Guantanamo Bay for a couple of years. That was before we was married. And he said that's a place you don't want to be. Over there at Cuba, Cuba's a nice place, but the insects and the mosquitoes and stuff almost able to eat them alive. They were there.
Well, I don't know.
They didn't really get to see. Go ahead.
They got their FEMA camps now. I remember they were talking about FEMA camps a long time ago, but Donald Trump bought them in some.
They got them now. They got them now. They was talking about the Democrats. Remember, it was the Democrats was going to set up FEMA camps.
Yeah.
No, it was always going to be the Republicans, because whatever they, like you said, Tyrone.
Yeah,
whatever they say,
they project. That's all.
Other people are doing. They're the ones that's going to do it and doing it. So whatever they say somebody else is doing is what they gonna do or what's doing planning to do. So you was right about that. So they got the FEMA camps now. I could have sending people over to Guantanamo, but it was just crazy. And I used to ask him. He said, yeah, they had a lot of the local people that would allow them onto the base. They would come in and work and then leave. So they employed a lot of the Cubans, there that would come on the base and work, and then they would leave at a certain time of day. These buses and stuff would take them. He said, but the whole thing about being there, they didn't get a chance to really see too much of any of Cuba once. He said they had went on some type of a thing. He said, but when you station there, that's all you see. It's huge, but that's all you saw was that damn base. They didn't really get to do anything else, or really get to really do too much with the people, the locals, or leaving the base or doing. They weren't allowed to do that. You was just on the base. That's it. So.
Well, I don't know. Do y'all think that's turning off any immigration for any of these migrants from coming to this country the way they're getting treated now?
I think so. I think it's turned them away. I think some are still probably trying to get asylum, but they done shut down all, because some of them were able to use the apps and stuff that couldn't come across, but they shut all that down. So I don't see why anybody would try to come here to do anything. I don't think why they would try to come here to do anything. Now you have a lot of visa overstays for people from other countries, from let's just say Russia, from different parts of Europe and stuff. They not in behind those people. They only in behind the people of color.
Yeah, that's crazy that you only see Hispanics, Hispanics and people of color getting, and when you got all these dang on Europeans and people from wherever
overstay. Yeah. You got more of them than you have at anybody else. They not in behind the people. And then he got his nerve to be trying to bring South African farmers here when you owe the black farmers money.
That just shows you that
And
it's
you're not
racism.
even trying to do nothing for the white farmers that's here. You're going to let their stuff, and so they can sell off all that farmland to the richy rich. They're not even trying to take care of the white farmers, but then got the nerve to be offering South African farmers to come here. That's Elon Musk suggestion. That's the straight from Elon Musk.
You know what that means? That means white South African farmers to come here.
That's what that is. And that's Elon Musk. That's what he wants. That's an evil man. I saw he was, what's the guy, Don Lemon, was showing different parts of the interview that he did with Elon back when he was going to do that Twitter thing. And they were talking about something that was wrong and how you treat people or whatever. And Elon looked at him and said, well, don't you think it's wrong that they're doing a genocide of the white farmers and the white people in South Africa? Somebody genocided no white farmers or nobody white in South Africa. And Elon must look like the devil. And Don Lemon was like, no, there's no genocide of white people and this and that in South Africa. But he looked like the devil when he said that. And Don Lemon said he realized that back when he was trying to do that Twitter show, that this is not going to work. I can't work with this man. I think that was a couple of years ago.
Yep.
Nobody's doing a genocide of no white South Africans.
Yeah, they always try to take other people's suffering, especially black people's suffering, and put it on themselves.
Put it on themselves. I couldn't believe he said that the genocide of the white South Afrikaners. What genocide? Nobody's doing anything to them. Well, they're trying to repatriate some of that land, but it's land that nobody's using. But it's land that nobody's really using. A bunch of that land is not even being used. So they're trying to give it back to some of the black South Africans so that they can maybe do some farming and stuff like that. I mean, that's a hateful man. He's hateful. And that's just my opinion, Google, not the opinion of TRS.
I don't see why America is putting up with this. I just don't. I know there's some protests going on and all that kind of stuff, but there's nowhere in the world that Elon Musk should be up in that damn White House. And I don't see how fail. I don't see how they fail for that ugly ass, raggedy ass Cybertruck. That is the most dumbest fucking looking vehicle that anybody has ever made. I don't see why people going crazy over what they was. Now they burning them up.
They were. Yeah. But the thing is, now that they got that recall on all of them because they're falling apart, they're telling people that this is a chance now that they can get those who did buy them, that to try to go ahead and get out of your lease or your loan. Now that they're doing that massive recall, and a lot of people are trying to get out of it. Their loans and their leases for that Cybertruck, because it ain't no good. That was mainly Elon's baby, and we see that it ain't no good. And he was lying about that self-driving technology.
Yeah.
For the regular Tesla anyway. And then all of them lies, because they were supposed to be making it to Mars by now. That man has been lying for years. They're supposed to be arriving to Mars. He kept putting it off. And the last day he said they'll be arriving in 2025. They never had the technology to send nobody to Mars to go live. He had been lying about that. I saw a video about that. And he'd been putting it off. They're supposed to be arriving in Mars now to live. All of that was lies.
I got a conspiracy of why they're trying to get off this planet. The science community, I think it was a couple of weeks or maybe a month or so back, they said that there's an asteroid out there that they're tracking that's going to be a near-Earth miss. And when they say near Earth, they probably talking about, I don't know, maybe hundreds of miles or whatever. But I believe that the rich people probably got knowledge of something catastrophic happening in the future. And now they're trying to take all the money and build all these rockets.
They're trying to figure it out.
Build all these rockets.
Figure it out.
And get off get off this planet. I believe, that's just my little conspiracy. I think that's why he's trying to get off.
It's what you just said. And
it's like, Elisa, it's like that movie
the
that
global war.
You remember that movie we
Yeah.
seen when they were trying to get off the planet?
Mhm.
That I think.
Oh, you talking about Don't Look Up?
Yeah, I think it's something like that going on in their head.
Don't Look Up.
That's not a conspiracy, Tyrone.
What?
That's what the scientific community is speaking about. Is the asteroid?
That's what they're saying.
That's April of 2030, I believe.
I'm saying the conspiracy is that I think that rich people think something catastrophic is going to happen, and they trying to take all the money and then get off the planet.
But it's also global. It's global warming too, because all of the scientists also have said the global warming has sped up worse than what they thought it was going to be. Now it's far worse than what they thought. That's why we have these horrible. That's why we have tornadoes in Maryland now, and we're going to start having even more and more.
Yeah, there's a reason behind. There's a reason behind why they're trying to take all this money all of a sudden and don't give a shit about it.
But the problem is the science is not there to really do anything yet. The science is really not there. It's just not there to do what it is that they're saying they're gonna do.
And they making everybody
but what they could do.
Go ahead.
Making everybody suffer, but they could slow down the global warming if we get rid of fossil fuel. But the fossil fuel companies they have given so much money to these politicians. That's why the cars are still using gas and all these planes all in the air. We could slow a lot of this down, this carbon emission and stuff. We could slow a lot of it down, but it's still about money and greed. Because you take like what's the Arab country, Saudi Arabia. The bulk of their money is oil that they bring in is oil, and they're doing their best now to have other things and to find other ways because they know eventually we have to get off that oil. And you have the countries that are all rich. They're doing whatever they think that they can do so they can turn over money from other things other than oil. We should have been off fossil fuel long time ago.
Yeah, because if we go to natural energy, that oil would be almost useless. All these
we don't need it anymore.
Yeah,
the technology has been here for us to be off the shelf it because fossil fuel companies they give the politicians money so that's why we're still on it. And Joe Biden was putting us on a path to get off fossil fuel with electric cars and stuff. You see Trump wiped all that out because they are still taking the money because a lot of them, though, they're old, so they're not going to be here. When things really hit the fan as far as the weather and these catastrophic weather events, we could slow this thing down if all of the countries work together. And we have got to get off fossil fuel. We've got to get off of that. And our carbon footprints and stuff, we could really slow it down. The damage has been done, but we can really slow it down. But they don't intend to. They're looking to go to Mars or go someplace else and screw that up. But they don't have the technology to get us off this planet.
Yeah, it's gonna have to take. It's gonna have to take the strong voice of the younger, newer generation to actually fight against this stuff because the people that's supposed the people that's supposed to be leaving them a future, they don't even care no more.
They're leaving them nothing. They don't care.
Yeah,
that's why they keep that fossil fuel going. They don't care. They just care about what they could get now. And then you have a lot of the tech people that's thinking that they can find a way, but they don't have the technology. They just don't. We don't have the technology to get these people off this planet. Maybe some hundreds, I don't know, another millennia by then. But slow it down. Slow it down and make some improvement. And Trump doing all this talking about tearing down all of these forests and stuff so they could use the lumber, the timber and stuff like that. That's just going to make things worse.
Yeah, that's crazy that they tearing down all the forests. I don't know.
It's just because he want to do those tariffs and he know they're going to need timber to build. So that's what that's about. Gutting all of these forests and things like that. That's what that's about. But there's a
I don't know
lot of
what it's going to
interesting
take for people
videos.
to wake the hell up. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to take for people to wake the hell up.
But there's a lot of interesting videos. I'm gonna send you some, Tyrone, and we can discuss some of it next week. That the country, America, was on the decline anyway. And instead of them just saying it's on the decline, they're thinking that they're gonna Trump and them thinking they can just tariff everybody, and how they're trying to do gut because the country is on the decline.
But
America
why is
has been on
people
the
so
decline.
stupid? Whenever he says tariffs, that means prices going up on every damn thing, and ain't nobody saying shit. Just like if Sarge was to
But they
call in
thinking
right
they can.
now, he would tell you how 50 ways why tariffs is good, and he would be wrong all 50 goddamn times because he's that stupid.
All 50 ways.
Yeah, it's just.
But they're thinking that a lot of that tariff talk, they're thinking they can tariff their way out of the decline this country is in.
That makes no sense. I mean, that ain't
even
even what tariffs is for. I mean, it makes no sense. Their argument is stupid.
It is stupid. I'm going to send you some of those videos and how they explain what a lot of this is about. Because I said it got to be more to it than what we're just looking at, just to tear up and gut everything. Because the country is on the decline. And they feel that they can do it this way. Very interesting. Some of the greatest economists. And they're telling you point blank what this is. What we're seeing, what we're going through. And his way is to tariff his way up. I mean, he's what, like 80, and he's white and he's fat. How? I mean, come on.
No, we've got educated people and philosophers out there that can peg exactly what is going on, but their voices are stifled.
They have.
We don't hear their voices.
They got them all stifled.
Yeah, we don't hear their voices because they're trying to shut everything down.
They're just trying to get all the money they can for the next couple of 100 years, because the planet is in serious trouble. And when they tell you that it's far worse than what they thought it was going to be right now, like in Europe, all of this expensive hot weather they had this past summer, we have been tornadoes tearing up stuff in Maryland,
yeah,
different things like that. These floods and weather events is just getting worse. The fires in California. That's right. I sent you a message and you didn't hit me back when they was having fires in South Carolina.
The past hurricanes we just had has been massive. They've been bigger than like 3 or 4 times bigger. They've been big.
Massive. And these fires, like we thought LA was gonna burn up. Fires in California, fires here, fires there. Anytime we get tornado warnings here in the state of Maryland where you got to go down and do this, that. It's bad. The planet is bad. It's far worse than they thought. And that's a big problem. But they don't want to do anything about it. They want to continue to take the money from the oil companies and things like that. They don't want to do anything about it.
Yeah,
we could have been off of this. If we could have really saved the planet about a good 25 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, but they refused.
Well, yeah, if they would have, it started with George Bush's presidency. If they would have elected Al Gore, I think we'd be on a better footing.
Yeah, he would have really turned a lot of different things around. I mean, we've caused a lot of damage, but we're just going to continue causing more damage. And Trump is drill. We're going to cause even more damage. And people going to sit here and act like you don't see these weather events that we're having and ignoring that. That's the scary part of this administration. But,
Well, on that note, guys. Go ahead, Elisa.
I'm going to. No, that's all I was going to say. I'm going to. But I'm going to send you some of those videos this week, Tyrone. They short. Because when I came upon them, you can't just find them on regular YouTube.
Okay.
I noticed that it just showed up. It showed up in my algorithm, and then I couldn't find them again because a lot of them you have to pay for them. But because of the different things that I watched, they opened up free to me.
Uh-huh.
And they're talking about all of this stuff here. I said, okay, that was the answers that I needed. Because why are you trying to tear up the country? Because of the decline. And I'm going to send them now that some of them are able to find now because they had to open up because they weren't free.
Yeah.
And I'm going to send them to you. And you tell me what you think when we talk next week.
All right. Well, on that note, guys, I'm going to shut down YouTube and open up the lines and get off here. I appreciate everybody calling in. And don't forget, tomorrow night, Sister Nobody doing her show. So y'all call in or listen to her whenever she call in.
Now, I will listen and call in, and we will talk next week, Tyrone.
All right. Y'all take it easy.
All right.
Q&A session is over. All participants are unmuted.